Hello, welcome to another NAYT vlog. I'm Henry and I'm joined by Ashley Elbourne.
Hello!
Who are you?
Who am I? So I'm the youth theatre manager here at the Royal Gate, which is where we are. We're in the rehearsal room this afternoon, and I'm here to talk a little bit today about a commissioning process that the Royal Gate has been involved with, which Henry likes to think is a bit of a set. When you put them together, you describe them as a trilogy.
Yeah, so I think if you follow them all, they kind of follow this narrative of some kids in a school, girls like that, and then outside of the school there's a toxic leak.
That's immune.
And that leak has caused the end of the world. The Blue Road. So that's the trilogy, right. But as Toy Story 4 has proved, some trilogies never die.
It's true.
Tell us about this new play.
So a quick shout out to a previous web chat that we've had with Gemma Wufferden. She talked a little bit about this process. So apologies, I'm going to repeat some of that, but hopefully I'll also give a little bit more of an insight. So the play that we have commissioned is a play by a writer called Andy McGregor. Now, Andy McGregor is a Glaswegian writer, works mostly in Scotland, but is starting to venture down here a bit more, which is nice. And something that he spoke about in his brief and in his interview was actually the ability to put joy on stage. And as a lover of youth theatre work, interestingly, two of the plays that you referenced there, they're set in kind of like this post-apocalyptic, there is no future, the world's going to end.
And I think that's sometimes quite a subgenre of youth theatre plays, is this kind of dark dystopian, like lots of youth theatres kind of gravitate towards Animal Farm or 1984 and Kafkaesque worlds.
Yeah. And interestingly, what's a bit about this process is that when we start workshopping the play, it's with the writer, but with the young people. So they go around to every different venue that are involved. This time there's 6 venues, and they workshop. Now, yes, there were those deep, dark, meaningful, gritty subjects which were at the surface of those workshops. And it's important to say that because Andy could have just gone ahead and gone, yes, I'm going to write this post-apocalyptic play. But he chose to actually focus upon the joy that was also being discovered. Some of the first drafts we had were interesting. And they revolved, I think, probably a lot around those the thoughts that the young people were bringing, and maybe sacrificing a little bit of Andy. So myself and Louis, who's the young company associate director at Northern Stage, we've both been working as dramaturg on the project. We encouraged Andy to do was actually not forget himself and not forget actually what he wanted to bring to the party. And he then went away and reworked it. And it's important to say that, so Andy he's come to every venue. And the venues involved this time are Derby Theatre, Dundee Rep, Leeds Playhouse, Northern Stage, Royal Gate and Theatre Royal Plymouth. So we've tried, geographically, we've kind of gone Scotland, really South England and bits in between. And importantly, not London. The reason for that is London feeds London really, really well. But actually, we as regional venues, we wanted to also support each other's work. That was a key decision-making in appointing Andy as well, was that he's not London-based. So we wanted to, again, shout about what else is out here in the world outside of the London. So he's gone to all those venues, and then he came up with his first draft. And then following that, we then all went, we took 4 or 5 young company members from each venue to a residential place in Newcastle, where we researched and developed the play. I think it's probably fair to say that at that point we weren't quite sure what the play was going to be. Andy, I'm sorry if you feel like I'm speaking untoward there, but I feel like it kind of was not quite there. And so we had a lot of discussion based, and we workshopped a lot of different ideas. We had a first draft, which was really excellent.
Can you give us an example of a exercise or a workshop that unpacks the themes and ideas. So it's quite easy for us to go. And then we worked with some young people in the process. Mm-hmm. But can you just give us an example of like if the young people are in the room now, what you might do with them?
Yeah. So the way that Andy writes is he's got such a tongue for dialogue, and it's you can when you're reading it, you can kind of feel there's a style to it. So actually, one of the workshops that Andy led was based upon a Lecoq style. So basically, he got the young people to start going on this. That he taught people, and it's something I now use in rehearsals quite a lot, which is we as an audience we watch theatre, and if there's a punch, now we know that punch isn't real. So why try and make it look really real? Actually, put that massive space in between, and suddenly it's a lot more comic. So he got the young people to enjoy that. Then suddenly we started chasing, but not moving, so just chasing on the spot. And if one person moved, then another person would you'd see them turn around that same corner. We'd watch a gun being fired out, a bullet being fired out of a gun, where actually then that bullet becomes this person, and then hits that other person, and you see the impact. Which basically got the young people to heighten everything, which with Influence, the play, it needs it. If you try and play this real and you try and play it natural, it doesn't. It's going to hit really hard, and it's not going to get off that ground. So it has to be a lot high. And the way that I've kind of described it to the young people I'm working with at the minute is you take Spider-Man zipping through New York, you totally believe it. You see him, you zip. You know that if you went to New York, you're not going to see Spider-Man zipping through that New York City. I mean, I've looked, I didn't see him, so it might have just been a bad day, and actually all the streets, actually a good day, because all the streets were good. But it still exists in our reality, as does this play. So this play follows a group of extraordinarily ordinary teenagers who are spending their last summer together before one of them goes off to university to make some memories. Now, at the beginning, they think, I don't know, maybe like go to the park, have a picnic, or maybe a weekend in Blackpool if they want to be a little bit crazy. And they never expect to fall into this adventure that they end up going on. And yeah, it's crazy in a really, really fun and good way. There's everything that you can't ever put on stage is in it. Okay. So we've got an aeroplane landing in McDonald's. We've got an aeroplane and helicopter chase where the aeroplane crashes and blows up. We've got gunshots. We've got mind manipulation, underground lairs. We've got Lidl. We've got a gig which is happening at your crappy locals community centre. But all of it works. And that's testament to Andy to make it work.
And obviously young people, the cast have been in this process. And obviously kind of there's some of Andy in there and some of the cast in there. What's the kind of final kind of product that is created, in the sense that how do you kind of inspire them to create this bizarre, strange thing? How do you like encourage them to go all the way into this bizarre world? Sometimes teenagers feel so self unconfident about going all their way into that.
Yeah, I guess that's where it comes down to me. So Andy has kind of handed over this script now. Now we're still developing it whilst we're in rehearsals, but whether any of those changes actually land for our production or, for example, Leeds are performing in October, so it's more likely that they'll have kind of those changes. But it's back to the director. So I, for example, have over Christmas, when I knew kind of the style that we're aiming towards, homework task. Go and watch things like Riverdale on Netflix. Watch Kick-Ass. Watch all of those those kind of like teeny but heightened teeny, mostly Netflix kind of world. There seems to be a lot on Netflix at the minute. And actually don't just watch, look to see how it actually works. And encouraging. I haven't said anything negative at the minute in rehearsals, which is hard for me because I like being a nitpicker. But
cutting people down.
Yeah, just down they go. Yeah. No, not really. But yeah, it's about always positive reinforcement. So someone goes for it and, oh yeah, loving it. Let's see if we can match that energy. And I talk a lot about that. About that energy level, and you will see actually the ones which are slightly, like you say, less confident with it. Slowly they start to realise, because they're seeing actually how much fun these people who are bringing that heightened energy. They go, okay, I can kind of get there too. It's not going to be easy for everyone, and I'm not convinced everyone will actually get there. But for me, the final performance, it's important, right? But it's not the be-all and end-all. Actually, what it's been about is this process and commissioning a new piece of work with young people from the get-go. And I think I didn't have that experience when I was younger. I went to a youth theatre and I went to different like stage coach and things like that, where I'd either be working on Annie or I'd be working on something that we make ourselves. And I'd never have the luxury and the opportunity of working with a writer on a brand new play with 5 other venues across the country, and I can possibly meet those people. Also, being able to go and see someone else's piece of work. And
compare and see like how you've approached such a strange text. Presumably these characters and situations aren't a kind of set realistic world. So the young people in Newcastle might have completely different opinion. Yeah,
totally different. And I think that's one thing that's great about this process is you see so many different versions of it, and that's, I think, testament to the writer, because Andy has to have that material there to give us that benefit.
Great. Thank you very much, Ashley. So if you are in one of these regions or want to find out more about it, you can get in touch with us here at NAYT or come along and see some of the shows. And thank you for checking out our vlog.
Cheers, guys.